Hey, happy hump day, everybody. Happy hump day. Come on in, come on in. This is Relationship Recap. I'm your host, Christal Jordan. And of course, I have a co host, Scorpio Moe. Let me go ahead and bring Scorpio Moe in because we have a lot to do today. So we need to come on in, get sit. Okay. Okay. What's
What's
good?
up? What's up? How you?
I'm good. You're puffing. You're puffing and you're drinking. You're smoking and you're drinking. Okay.
Yeah. A little something, little something. But
Um,
check real quick.
happy hump day.
Yes, happy day, happy Wednesday to everyone out there. Real quick though, if you don't mind,
Okay. Okay. What's
if you
going on?
don't want to address something real quick, we can get in it.
Okay.
If you don't mind,
Yeah. I mean,
okay.
Shabazz. I'm going to bring everyone up on the stage right now. First of all, I want to bring in my co-host, Christal Jordan. Sometimes she's being. Yeah, how's Scorpio Moe, by the way?
Oh, wow. Don't do that. I'm not going to do that.
Good evening, Christal. Shots fired. Shots fired at Scorpio Moe.
Yeah. To my surprise, Dennis. You know you done fucked up, right?
What is going on?
Now, I was always told if you entertain a clown, you become part of the circus. And today, I joined the circus. But now as a clown, you've got that covered, Dennis. I am coming as the ringmaster. Yeah. See, I don't bother anyone. I keep to myself. I don't call out other people's names. It's not related to the show or anything like that, or any topic that we're talking about, right? I go to work. I do this show twice a week. And I do enjoy the company of a beautiful woman. Yes, I do. But here's the thing. I've known Christal for about 20 years now, right?
Mm-hmm.
And she is surrounded by a lot of confident guys, just guys that she knows in the business, very, very confident guys. But every now and then, there's an insecure, unconfident guy that jumps out and says something stupid. Kind of like you, Dennis. Kind of like you. For some reason, they just have an issue with me. And I get it. If I look like a young Morgan Freeman, I might have an issue with me too. And here's the thing. Morgan Freeman never looked young. So here's the thing, brother. Just leave me alone. I don't know what the issue is. I don't have a problem with you. We met briefly. You said some little corny shit. I kind of kept it moving. You've been kind of poking at me, but you said my name Saturday. You did say my name Saturday. So consider this a little when like 3-year-old kids run around the house touching the stove, plugs, sockets. You'd be like, this is that. I'm not returning shots. This is just the at. But if it happens again,
I okay.
and it's going to be man down. If I do, I will return shots fired, and it will be man down. So with that being said, I'm going to leave it alone. Hopefully you do too. Consider this an at. Understand? And next time, it's man down. And trust me, you don't want that smoke. That's it. That's the show, Christal.
Oh, okay. In the words of Gun Boss, surprise, surprise. It has been a surprising day. I did not know that you woke up today and chose violence.
No. This is an Don't do that.
Yeah, okay. Hip hop inspirer Dennis. Somebody said Christal such a Libra right now. Yes, I am. And the problem is that Moe and Dennis are both Scorpios. But that's not what this is about.
Brother. I don't know the brother. I don't know what the issue is, but like I said, over the years, I'm not going to say no other names. It's been a few.
Oh, Moe, your camera. Okay, we got some freezing. I'm not sure whose side it's on. Some freezing up. Yeah, Cachet, come on in. You guys, come on in. Let me know if you can see me. Let me know if you can see Moe.
Is that me?
I think they said you froze. Thank you guys. Not one looked like Morgan Freeman and the other one don't. You know what? We're not going to do that tonight. We got a lot to do today. This show, we got a lot to do on. The Lord froze his tongue. He must have. And he's smoking. He's still smoking. He's still smoking. Mo, what's going on?
Is that me?
It's you.
I might be Dennis.
Maybe Dennis. But we got a lot to do today. We got a lot to talk about. Maybe go out and come back in.
Are we here?
Yeah, maybe go out and come back in because it keeps freezing for some reason. And I don't want us to freeze tonight because we got a lot to talk about. Yeah, go out and come back in because we got a lot to talk about. I don't know if it's the smoke. Something's happening, but we want to go out, come back in so we can get to the show. We have a guest coming on tonight. You guys have asked for Coach Latonia to come back. So Coach Latonia is going to come in and we're going to talk about this. Today's episode is about, I just can't get myself together because I was not expecting Moe to do that. But yes, we're going to talk today about how do you know if you're ready to love? How do you know if you're ready to love or not? Thank you so much, Toya C, for watching that interview with Holly Madison. That was one of my favorites. I have a big interview coming up that I can't wait for you guys to see as well. Let's bring Moe back in. Okay, Moe. Okay, yeah. You're still puffing. Okay. I want us. What are you drinking? What is going on today?
Man, I'm drinking a little whiskey. I'm cool. Hey, everything cool.
Whiskey and a cigar. He chose violence today, but tonight we're going to talk about how do people know if they are ready to love, right? So I'm going to ask you because some of the comments, sometimes people in the comments have asked, are you serious? Are you ready to love? Let's start with you. How do you know? Are you ready to love? And if so, how do you know that you are?
I think it starts with self first as far as being comfortable, being alone, a level of comfort, being happy with self first.
Right.
Before I could. So I think we just start there. And then where I'm at in my life, let's say if I'm working, if I'm something that I'm going to have time for, and possibly make time for. I might not think I do. I might have a little time, but with that right person, you start to move things around for so on and so forth. But right. I just think open to love is more of the thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But I also think that there are a lot of people that really aren't ready. And I think I say ready is more like because you're still hurting. You guys know we're going to talk a little bit about Patricia, one of the ladies that actually the first young lady to leave Ready to Love this season in Fort Worth. We're going to get into that. She's made some statements, but I want to wait on Coach Latonia to talk about that. What I want to do is talk about how do we know? How do we know if we're ready to love? How do we know if we need to take a little bit more time to self-reflect? Okay, Dennis is here. He said, drop the link. Dennis, we can't do that tonight. This is not the night for that. We will do that another night because we have another guest coming on. I knew he was going to come. Moe. No. What does that mean? No, we're not.
If something came across. Huh?
Dennis said, drop the link. No, Dennis, no, we're not dropping the link.
Not like, see, now he said something and I respond to it. Now you trying to come on, man.
He said he wants to talk about Scorpio Moe taking his host. Dennis, that's not the same show, and we're not going to do that. But thank you so much for joining us. I'll give you a call after the show. We're talking about not let's keep the party going, drop the link. You know what? No. We have Coach Latonia.
You too old for that, Dennis. At least you look too old for it. Leave it alone. Just stop.
Mo.
That grow up, man. You
Okay.
you poked at me a few times. This is the only time I said something.
Okay, what we're gonna do now is we're gonna watch the trailer and one of the new trailers for Ready to Love, and then Coach Latonia is gonna join us in just a second. What is going on? We got all kinds of stuff happening tonight. This is crazy.
This is the first of 2 mixers.
Okay.
Tomorrow, I will meet with 10 new sexy singles. You all will have the opportunity to meet the other singles at my Ready to Love brunch. Mind blown.
You are absolutely my type.
Really?
Oh, yeah. If we had a pregnancy scare right now.
I mean, like, we're not gonna have that. Oh my God.
Ready to Love, all new tonight, 8/7 Central on OWN.
All right, so that's one of the new trailers. The pregnancy scare, your boy is out of control. What is good? What in the world is good with your boy? Like, I don't understand. Our good friend here is out of control. Yeah, that's wild. But I want to wait for Coach Latonia to join us so we can get into the conversation around Patricia leaving. And as soon as she joins us, I'm going to play that clip. While we're waiting for Coach Latonia, make sure that you like and subscribe. Mo and I actually have a really exciting event coming up that I want to share with you guys. But before we do that, I want to ask you guys to let us know where you're watching from. So if you can put your city in the chat, city and state or country in the chat. We're trying to figure out how we can serve you guys better. So please if you can just take a moment out of the time watching to go ahead and drop your city and state in the chat so we can know, because we're planning to come to some cities and we want to know where our audience is from. And so I'm going to ask you guys to do that as we wait for her. Let me ask you, because we talked a little bit about Patricia and her exit, right? And I want to know what you think of the way she exited the show last week.
Are
you freezing up again? Thank you guys for those cities. Mo is freezing. It must be because
I understood what the guys were talking.
You're
It ain't me, I'm telling you.
Oh, y'all let me know in the chat if it's me or if it's Mo. If you see me, if I'm freezing or if Mo is freezing, because I'm not. They're saying it's not. That it's not. Thank you guys for that. I love that. First of all, I saw Toledo, Ohio in the building. By way of Toledo, Ohio, that's what's up. Baltimore, Charlotte, South Carolina, of course, Sandy Springs. Sandy Springs, we want to see you in the building for the first event that's going to be here in Atlanta, not far from Sandy Springs. Beaufort, South Carolina, Saginaw, Michigan. What's up? Saginaw, Atlanta, 504, New Orleans. Girl, I hope you stay clear of those New Orleans men. Catonsville, Maryland. What? Mo is freezing. Mo is freezing. It's you, Mo.
Oh, sorry. I don't got nothing on. But I understood why the guys did what they did. I get it.
Why do you say that?
Like, I think some women think pretty is just enough. To deal with everything, whatever it is, my attitude or whatever.
Oh my gosh, she is really freezing. That's so weird. It's probably, yeah, that's really weird. He has never frozen before, and it must be because of the clap back. It must be because of the clap back. Mo, you're freezing.
It's pronounced Beaufort, South Carolina.
Okay, it's Beaufort, South Carolina. I'm sorry. Adrian just made sure that I knew it was Beaufort, not both. Beaufort, South Carolina. I'm so sorry. Some Keisha says Dennis is messing with your Wi-Fi.
Yeah. I think I got too much stuff open on this iPhone.
Yeah. That could be it.
But attitude. Especially when you have if it's a bunch of pretty women, that at this point it's not about pretty no more. What else do you got?
Right. I remember hearing that when I first got to Atlanta. It was like, okay, so you're pretty, but what else? And I had never, I mean, that's that's crazy. That's crazy. That is crazy. But I do think that a lot of times women think that Coach Latonia just texted me and said that she is on her way. So when she Dennis is talking more trash, I have a feeling that we're going to have Dennis on Friday because he is in the comments going crazy. Remember what?
Anyway, good.
All right. Remember to put your city. Thank you guys so much. Put your city and state in the comments so we'll know where you're calling in or where you're watching from. Like I said, we are looking forward to coming to a few cities soon. We have an event happening in Atlanta, Georgia on February 21st that is like basically it's like a Galentine's Day event. So I'm excited about that. Without further ado, let's go ahead and bring Coach Latonia in the room. Mo, be ready with your applause now. All right. We have author and rebirth coach Latonia joining us tonight.
Greetings.
Girl, we have had a morning, an afternoon so far, an evening so far. Mo has
Hey, Mo.
he keeps freezing. I don't know what's going on. I don't know.
Okay.
But his phone keeps freezing. I think he may have to turn off some of his some Mo, you may have to close some of those windows and come back in because it keeps freezing. And I don't want you to miss the conversation with Coach Latonia. Yeah, it keeps freezing. I think he has too many. Okay. He's going to go out and come back in. Okay. So Coach Latonia, first of all, thank you so much for joining us tonight. I reached out to you after having you on last time because, as you know, we do these conversations about Ready to Love. But before we get into getting to know the singles, I thought it would be great to have you come on and us have a really honest discussion about when do we know that we're ready to love. And so I pulled some clips that I want you to watch. I want us to watch together, and then I want to get your feedback on them. I was waiting for Mo, but I think what I'm going to do is go ahead and play this first clip. Now, what we're going to do is first we're going to go to the Ready to Love clips, and then I have another clip. But we're going to go to the Ready to Love clips and some of the things that we've seen thus far. I'm going to start with Patricia because she was the first young lady that was let go from the show. And so with that, there was a lot of commentary on this particular conversation that we're about to watch. But I want you to watch this with us and then us to get your feedback. And I want to see if you agree with the comments that we got from some of the guys after watching this clip. So we're going to start here with Patricia.
As good as you look, nobody's just...
I want someone that looks past this and wants to get to know me, not surface level. I just want someone that I can be vulnerable with. Mm-hmm. In past relationships, I've not been vulnerable because I don't think that the man that I was with created the space enough for me to feel safe.
Okay.
Are you good at that?
I do believe so.
How do you make a woman feel safe?
Well, for one, you have to really listen to your partner, hear what she's saying, especially if it's coming from a vulnerable or emotional space.
I want to create that safe space for my man too. Because past men that I've been with, I know that sometimes it's not reciprocated.
Yeah. Patricia, she has her guards up, and it makes sense why. At the same time, you have to have some type of open doors, something, in order to build a relationship.
It takes a while for you to trust, the person that you're with.
Right.
Maybe that's my experience, I think.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So I'm going to just give you the floor. Coach Latonia, what did you see from that clip, from that conversation? Now, this is the first conversation that Patricia's having with this young man that she's getting to know at the mixer.
First conversation is the key word that you just said. TMI. She was in her head, not in her body. And so when we talk about the feminine energy and divine masculine or masculine energy, it exists even if you don't know what that is. And it does not need to interview. A lot of us think, and we saw this on other shows. We saw this with Ashley in particular. I'm just going to call it out, right? Where you need to make an announcement. You're telling. When you're doing that, you're telling. You're not sharing. And in an interview, particularly for Black men, they tend to feel interrogated.
Yeah.
When you do that. Now you say, well, they should get over it. No. They could say the same thing when we make statements like, well, in my past relationship, I ... So now you're bringing your past relationship. It wasn't asked for. You volunteered that. That is not vulnerability. And I understand that it's an attempt at vulnerability from the head, from the intellect, but it's not embodiment. And so I think that for some reason, somewhere, someone has told women that this is how you're supposed to date. And it undermines us. I learned a long time ago that if you just have a discussion and a conversation with someone, you'll learn everything that you need to know.
Very true.
That's a fact.
You do not have to interrogate people if you just talk. You do not have to do that. And when you do that, we saw it in the clip. It completely shut down the guy. Now he has to jump through a hurdle and prove to you that he's not like the other guys, because she put that on the table. He didn't.
She did. Let me ask you this, Coach Latonia. You guys, please go ahead and share this. I'm not share this because this is a therapy session, and I thought we needed to do this before we have the good tea talk on Friday, because this is really what a lot of people are dealing with. One of the questions that was brought up last Friday as we recap the show was her question to him: what can you do as a man to make a woman feel safe? What do you think about that question? Moe definitely did not like. Well, let me ask you, Moe, can you explain to Coach Latonia why you didn't like that question? Can you hear me, Moe? I don't know what's going on with his internet. But so let me just go to you, because he didn't like the question at all. He said that
I don't know if I'm going to come through choppy, because you were coming through choppy, but I heard the question though. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Hello?
Yes.
Hello? Hello?
I don't know what's going on, but he can't hear us.
Hello?
Oh my God.
Yeah, I can. Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
I don't know what's going on. Hello?
Okay. I'm going to take him out and he can come back in.
Can you hear me?
I want you to answer the question. I'm not sure what's going on with his, but what do you think about that? Because he had an immediate adverse response to that. Immediate. To her saying, what can you do as a man? Can you make a woman feel safe?
I think, I can't speak for a man, but I think that we have a misunderstanding of that need being somebody else's responsibility. It's a valid need. To feel safe is a valid need. But if it's coming from a place of lack and unhealed part of yourself, then it is not it is not the other person's responsibility. Now, we are responsible for our healing. Now, does the partner, first of all, I don't care how much healing work you have done on yourself. You don't know yourself until you're in a relationship with someone else. This is why you may not read the Quran, but the Quran says marriage is one half of faith. That's one of the best things I could have ever learned as a young wife. Marriage is one half of faith. What is faith? Faith is the substance of things hoped for,
the evidence
of things unseen. Marriage is the substance that many women hope for, but it still is the evidence unseen because you haven't seen your mother be vulnerable oftentimes or give you the skills. Most Black women are told to go to school, get good grades so that she can take care of herself if something happens. Am I lying?
No.
We're told to put our money to the side in case something happens. We're told that mad day is coming.
Yep.
Is this true?
Yeah.
Okay, so who told us anything about choosing a mate for safety? Because we've been taught to secure ourselves.
Wow.
So now when we come to a man, he has all these things that he's supposed to do. And in all fairness, a lot of Black men who have been raised by women, Black women, often they also have not seen it. They have not seen their fathers make it safe for their mother.
Right.
So I do think that it's off-putting. It's extremely direct as well. When you're interviewing, you're in a masculine energy because it doesn't go away. When you become a wife, one of the things that you have to learn is how to say and position things. That is what invites the safety.
Ooh, okay.
On both ends, what did I?
Hey, Coach, I mean, I'm just here learning with everybody because my husband says to me he does not like to feel like he's being interviewed. He hates that. And I'm like, I interview for a living. And I like to just ask questions and I'm always trying to figure out. And he is so adverse to that, to where it irritates me. But I've never understood why until you just said that. So
mine too. My husband is quick to tell me, I am not one of your clients. So I have had to learn. And a part of that also is many of us don't know our, for the lack of a better word, I know that many people won't know what it means, and some will. Your human design type. Your human design is a part of your natal chart, your personality. We do it for corporate America. Let me give you an example. When we go to corporate America, we go to professional development. And we go to professional development to determine what type of leader we would be or what type of team we should be on. When we go into we get that type of professional development training, assessments are done and you get 4 letters, INIJ or something like that, right? We do Myers-Briggs testing. But when it's time for us to tap into the womanly arts, the feminine arts, we become afraid of it because those same institutions that prepare you to be a good employee will have made you afraid to be a good wife, to be a medicine woman at home, to be able to know how to your kitchen, for instance. I'll hush. Your kitchen, for instance. We think we've done something when we can hire a chef. But here's the science of womanhood. You don't want everybody feeding your man because when you're feeding your man, you're putting your energy in that food. And there's a science to that. And so if you let somebody else feed your man, then they can also now, is this too old school?
No, not at all. And I don't want to even get off track, but I have to say this to you, Coach Latonia, because I was having a conversation with a good friend of mine who is she counsels women. She's a dating coach. I love her dearly. And I was telling her I have, trying to make sure the house is straight, do work, cook, because my husband loves most people's husband loves food, loves to be fed. And she said, well, why don't you just hire a chef, but wear some lingerie? And I was thinking, yeah, that's not going to work, because he actually loves the fact, he loves it when I bring him his plate. He loves it when I prepare the food. And I didn't feel like she understood that I can tell that he appreciates the energy I put into making his food. Yes, he does appreciate when I make sure that he has food, but when I make it for him, I can tell the difference. And I felt like she didn't understand that. And that explains what you just said, explains that entire scenario. Because I'm like, no, it's not just about him eating. It's about me putting energy into doing something for him that I can tell he appreciates.
Absolutely, because one of the keys is of the masculine is they want to feel appreciated. Mm-hmm. See, our men really do want to please us. Mm-hmm. So that's just like it's in your nature to do certain things, to care and to nourish. I'm talking to all the women out there. Mm-hmm. And if that's turned off, then you have to do the work, sis, to turn it back on. Mm-hmm. Because yes, you can hire people to do certain jobs, but then you're just managing a task. See, when you don't come from wealth, you don't know the actual anatomy of wealth. Mm-hmm. And so people who hire people to do certain things continue to hire people to do certain things.
Got it. Okay. I want to, before we move off of Patricia, and I want to also say this. I'm going to try to bring Mo back in. Hopefully he can hear us. Can you hear us? Okay.
Yeah,
all right.
Yeah.
All right. Perfect. We got you back.
Now, this is on my Android phone now.
We'll take it. We just want you to be a part of the discussion. It's
Team really Android.
You know what? You already, Coach Latonia, you're Team Android and Team Saint, so you already have issues with our house. But I want to make sure that I first state this is not anti-Patricia. She's a beautiful woman. I believe that she's going to do amazing. This is not personal. We are just speaking about the example. So I want to go ahead and say that this is not a personal attack on her. We are simply talking about the behavior that we saw in an edited format. So with that disclaimer out the way, I want to tell you all, I played the clip, Mo, just to catch you up to speed, of Patricia sharing that she wanted the man to make her feel safe. Now, after the men came together and the men said that they did not feel like she was ready, they felt like she still had a lot of baggage from her past, she went on Twitter and responded. And understanding that reality TV probably is a lot if you haven't been on television before, her responses still, I feel, were very telling of how she, her internal, the way she's set up internally. So I'm just going to read some of these text messages. I'm going to put them up here on the screen. She says, I'm glad I left because none of these men would ever be on my radar, except maybe Chaz, but y'all going to see how he acts later. Laughing my ass off. And then she says, they wanted drama and I wasn't giving that. Y'all producers made them say me because I was something else. But basically she immediately attacked the guys by saying, I wouldn't want any of them anyway. And except for Chaz, and then also said something else. So I want to ask you, since we got Mo back, Mo, what is your response to her response to being sent home?
I think that it's typical. I expect her to say that. I expect that. That's all the time. I've seen that in situations where someone didn't get their way and they were basically with everything, but as soon as it didn't get their way, well, you're this and you're that. I just wanted to talk. Typical.
What didn't you like about the question that she asked? I really want to hear what you have to say.
About the feeling safe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What's safe for you? I just think that's a loaded question. I really do. That's why I was like, if I'm around you and I can't make you feel. I can show up and do what I do And if you feel safe with that, you feel safe with that. Somebody else might feel it's safe. Somebody else might feel it's something else. You see what I'm saying? It's not safe. So I'm not going to set myself up and say, well, you know what, if I do this, because I saw some of the comments and they were using money as a safety net as far as being safe. A man's position in the world makes them feel safe. But that same woman that would feel safe if there was a divorce, then what? She's not safe no more?
Right.
Like with the money, I just don't like that. I think it's a loaded question. That's why I have problems answering it, Pastor. To me.
Can I say something real quick on Mo's point of view on that? Mo, if I can use you as an example, because a lot of those sisters do watch every week. I think you're a good example of playing on this safety idea, right? You're a masculine alpha male. There are some women who don't know that they are triggered by masculine energy. So therefore, when you show up authentically as yourself, this can trigger a woman who has not done any type of work on herself to know that she's triggered by a mass. If you have not grown up with a man in your house and you have not heard the voice of a strong man give you instructions, directions, or sometimes demands, it can be a trigger. If you don't know yourself and you can place that responsibility on a good man that would protect you and care for you, but your lens is still cloudy from not knowing, because you don't know what you don't know, or you have a trauma that is unhealed. So a lot of times women, we are projecting onto one another thing, even when we get a man. Even some of you all, come on, let's be honest in the comments. When you get a man, you say you want one, then you get him and you fight with him all the time. And how do I know? Because I've been a young woman who had daddy issues. I've had daddy issues. So when a man says something to me a certain way, I'm automatically in my, oh no, don't talk to me like that bag. I'm automatically as a young wife. And so it took me to learn and unlearn that I was still reacting to as a little girl. A lot of us are letting little girls run our grown woman business. We have to put our big girl panties on.
Can I say something?
Yes, please.
Man, I hope I don't get in trouble by this, but
well, you may, but it's okay.
I tend to make a slightly better connection with women who either had an older brother or a father in the house.
Yes.
When I've dealt with some women who didn't have a father in the house, uncle wasn't like, and then you're hearing, well, a man should, and I'm like, how do you know? Like, where are you getting that from? TV? Like, where have you lived in the presence of a man? Have you seen a man get up, go to work, come home, deal with that, do these things? Like, where are you getting this from? And I feel like I'm being compared to some imaginary, like an image, but not a real thing. And I'm like, but the women who have seen it, not all the time, let me be real clear, but a lot of times they're more understandable and more realistic. I'm just saying.
No, listen, that's real talk. My husband has said those exact same words to me. And we have 3 boys. And one time I remember saying something about what boys should do. And he said, "How do you know? Have you ever been one?" And I had to hush. He said, "I don't tell women how to be a woman or a girl." And I literally got it instantly then. And then a couple of other times he said it to me when, because he did not grow up in the house with his father.
Mm-hmm.
But what he said to me was, I had uncles. I grew up on the block with men who held me accountable, who were my examples, who were my spiritual counsel. So you can't, he explained to me, you can't even judge me just because I didn't have my father until I was 11. So I've learned. What I'm saying to you all is from someone who has been married, who has had a lot of lessons in learning some of this.
Yeah. No, I agree. It's funny because I think, when, to Mo's point, I didn't grow up with my father in the house. I did have two uncles, but one of my uncles is gay. The other one is not. And their perspective was not present all the time. So it's funny because I do have a lot of guy friends, a lot of guys around me, but a lot of times what I think they would say and what they actually do say are two different things.
Yeah.
Case in point, today something happened with two of my guy friends, and I called Adrian. I said, I want to reach out to them. And he said, stay out of that. That's none of your business. And I was like, well, these are my friends. It is my business. So I talked to Mo, and I talked to two of my other guy friends, and they were like, he told you the right thing. And they think different. Men just think different than women. It's not about, I see some of the comments, people saying it's about, attacking women. That's not what this is about. It's about the fact that we think differently. And a lot of times, if we haven't seen that, then we have an idea that they're supposed to think like us, and they really do not. Now, I want to show this next clip because like I said, we got a lot to do today. We got a lot to ask Coach Latonia's opinion about, but I want to flip it over to the men, because we talked about this being an opportunity to discuss, when do you know that you're ready to love? But in that same conversation, we also need to know, when are we encountering someone that is ready, and when are we encountering someone that is looking to waste our time? And so I want you to give us your opinion on this clip. This happened on the first episode with Koshea and Will, and this was one of the clips that got a lot of social media conversation as well. But I want you to address it from your perspective.
I found out my husband had 4 children.
Hold on.
Yes, I found out.
Hold on. You was dating this cat.
Mm-hmm.
You got married to this man.
Mm-hmm.
And you did not know he had kids.
I didn't know he had children at all, let alone 4 children.
How? Was the dick lean that good?
So I felt very disrespected by that question. It made me recognize that he wasn't here to...
Coach,
he's an idiot.
But you say that, but I know there are a lot of men that do respond that way. And a lot of times women, depending on the package that he's in or how much money is in his pocket, will entertain that energy. So she told him that she ended up getting married to a man that she later discovered had 4 children. She had no idea he had any children. And he immediately said, was the ding-a-ling that good?
Yeah, I mean, he absolutely had no tact. He was immature.
There you go.
His language is immature. He was immature. There was no tact. So, I think sometimes we get being turned off, confused with being disrespected. I can understand her saying that she was turned off, but he just was ignorant, or just. But at the same time, it's another case. Why is that information important in your first conversation?
Facts.
It seems to be a lot.
Why do we need to know that in your first introduction on national television, even? Well, I really want somebody in the comments to answer. Like, we really don't know how to date, honestly.
Right.
And I have had to learn too. Y'all, come work with me.
I'm trying to learn how to be married, and I don't need any comments from Gun Boss at all. Okay. I don't need any comments, but I'm saying, and I was talking to a friend today, Coach Latonia and Mo. I was talking to a girlfriend that had been single and celibate for a 10-year period. Got into a situation with a guy, and she's trying to navigate it now, being around 50 years old. And I was saying to her, when you haven't used those muscles, because so many of us get hurt, we turn to work. That's what my book, Dear Alpha Female, is all about. We turn to work and raising our children. And then when you decide, oh, my child is about grown, I want to get back out into the dating space, you have no idea how to interact with a man. And I know for myself, when I first was divorced, and I don't mind using myself because I've made a lot of mistakes, but I've grown from them. But I first got back into the dating scene, and I was so afraid of being hurt that badly again that I led with all of that. So I would pour out, well, my husband had an affair, and I mean, I was probably scaring the right guys off, but I was attracting men that were looking for someone vulnerable to take advantage of. And so what happens is, as a woman, a lot of times, like Mo said earlier, you think, well, I'm getting attention. Guys are coming. But after those conversations, you see a little bit of the, I was excited. I'm not so excited more as I was before. And then some of them that are looking to be manipulative are just super attracted. Mo knows that this guy I met right after I got hurt was literally trying to pressure me into being with him, like pressure. And a lot of times we mistake that as safety or security because we don't understand how to date. We don't understand how to heal and not lead with that pain.
Yeah. So one of the things that when we go into a date, first of all, what happened to flirting? Flirting is fundamental in dating. If you don't feel a little tingle between your legs, you probably aren't attracted to the person anyway. And I understand we say, okay, well, I should give them a chance. And yes, you should. It's called defensive dating. Defensive dating is when you allow yourself to go on many dates and not get attached to, in feminine language, in feminine arts. Defensive, this is what I'm describing. Defensive dating is when you allow yourself to date, to learn what your preferences are. You go in with the idea of, I'm not going in looking for my husband. I'm going in learning my preferences. It is a different type of energy. When a woman is broken and she starts dating, she has a different energy for a woman that is whole. When a woman is turned on already onto herself, her life, when she has a relationship with her own pleasure, when she has a relationship with herself in a certain way, she's coming with a full cup and not a cup saying, will you fill it up? It's a different energy.
It is actually player repellent when she's like that. Because he has a harder time trying to infiltrate if he's up to no good, if she's like what you just described. If she can get to that space.
Right, because when I started practicing the feminine arts, I could play. I was playful. I could be playful in my energy. And so that means I was free. I wasn't looking for anybody to save me. And it's a different kind of energy. And it is absolutely true what Mo said. When I work with women for 7 weeks, 6 months, and when they get freed up from this stuff and they go date, the challenge is too that a lot of men don't know what it feels like to be in the presence of a woman that's free and liberated and full and pleasant and juicy. Because it is a different thing. So a lot of times they would have to come back and say, okay, now how do I have dominion over this energy and not feel rejected? Because there are, like you said, Mo just said it. He just gave you free game. It's player repellent. But the truth of the matter is, a lot of us do not trust the feminine. We think that the feminine energy is weak.
Is weakness, yeah. Because a lot of us have been taught that.
Absolutely. So therefore, I cannot be soft with you. I have to show up hard. So you and honestly, what you're doing, you said it too, Christal. You are a magnet for the manipulator. Because when you go in giving all of that information,
Mhm.
someone who does not have good intentions knows they can, because a man can say anything out of their mouth. Most men will tell you, don't pay attention to just what I say, pay attention to what I do.
Well, the
So
ones
when
that are doing good stuff, the ones that are talking.
yeah, you're giving all this information away. That's
Mhm.
not even street knowledge, but I understand most of us don't have it. You don't even.
I would say Kojo from Little Black Book 91 says only dogs like to jump high fences. And that stuck with me so much because so many of my friends that I know that self included try to put all this defense, I'm not going to be stupid next time, then you end up with a fool. And it's like, what? And it's because only a good man doesn't want to do that. He doesn't feel like going through all those hoops and jumping all those hoops. I want to play another clip. Well, first of all, before you go to a clip, there was the first guy that was let go on the show, DeMonte, I believe his name was. I think you can tell a lot about a person by the way they respond to not necessarily failure, but not getting their way, right? Mm-hmm. That character shows up there. So when he was the first person to leave, Patricia was the second. He tweeted, all weekend, people, didn't I see you on TV? This lady just asked me for my autograph. And that was what he tweeted. So in my opinion, that said that he really was there for what he got.
Nobody want that man autograph. Man, okay.
Somebody might have wanted his autograph, Mo.
What were they going to autograph?
You know what? I'm not going to do this with either one of you guys. We're going to move on to the next clip. Coach Latonia, here's another clip from this coming Friday's episode, showing a date, and I want both of you guys to give me your opinion on this little piece from a date with Lamar.
You like that? Yeah. Us being together here.
Us being together.
Here.
Yeah.
That ain't my quality time, though.
It's not?
Nah. I might need to touch you.
You gonna get paint on me?
I might not.
Yeah,
well, we can put something on there and just see how that work out. You can be the canvas.
Yeah. I don't have to be the canvas.
When nobody got to tilt you, nothing like that.
Lamar is Lamar. He's his own special character.
But what's your core values?
I would say a man after God's own heart. I want you to at least seek and search for something bigger and greater than you.
Of course, you gotta have that. I'm big on that.
Yeah.
I love those core values that you have. I'm gonna jump your bones. I'm going to Palms.
How did we go from God to jumping bones?
God knows.
I'm gonna tell you something. So for me, for Christal, the old Christal would have immediately left the date and been irritated and probably said something smart to him. The new Christal would have probably, just ended the date quickly, but not been offended and not felt irritated. Before, I would have felt like, oh, he just wants sex or he wants that. And I would have been offended and it would have really been an issue. But after a girlfriend of mine told me today, don't shop when full. After being full, they wouldn't even have bothered me.
You don't shop when hungry.
Don't shop when hungry, right.
Yes.
Don't shop when hungry. Absolutely.
Yes. So, yeah, it's definitely pee in the water. I mean, we're not going to pretend like it's, huh?
These dudes is like, it's no, like you said, tact. There's no, and when I mean say finesse, I mean finesse like it's just how you, like these dudes is like, come on, man. I would be embarrassed as a man sitting next to him, because it's happened. I'm next to a guy at a bar or wherever, and I'm hearing them talk to the girl, and I'm embarrassed. I'm like, he said that? I'd be like, yo, crazy.
So, you know what? She was a great example. I think she handled it very well.
She did.
There have been others who would not have. They would have shut it down. They would have called it out. They would have gotten to be a confrontation, or even it could have been, I'm not accepting anything less. You know how we do. Yeah, we've seen them do. So I think she was very much in her feminine because she didn't need to be confrontational in that moment.
Right.
And yes, he was putting, when you open your mouth, you put your mind on display. So be grateful for that. When people tell you stuff, they're telling you about, oh, okay, now I see where he stands. Guess what? Now you have a choice and a decision. You don't have to be offended by somebody else's ignorance.
Yeah.
You unless you are obligated. And if you're not obligated, you have a choice in that moment and oftentimes in that moment, it's not even worth investing the education.
Right. Because it's falling on deaf ears. Deaf, blind, and dumb.
He couldn't even handle her response. First of all,
he didn't care. I don't think he cared because he literally, I don't think that he cared about even trying to appear like most of them, not even trying to finesse, like at least try to finesse. But that wasn't even, this is a game show. I'm here to play games. Are you here to play games too? You want me to go this way? I'm going right back because I'm all about the games.
But that's the same kind of man that will send you a penis pic.
Absolutely.
I wouldn't know nothing about that. But what I will say is, that, and I told women this, I was like, if you remain a lady, the guy's either going to do one or two things. He's either going to check himself or he's going to wind up coming correct. He's going to leave you alone or he's going to come correct. But if you become combative and going back and forth in the attitude that you described, then that's when it becomes something else. I promise you, remain that thing like you were saying, and I promise you, it'll work.
He said he's speed porning. Right. He's trying to get down to what he wants, which is just that. And I think that it's interesting. I want to ask you this, Coach Latonia, before we move on to this next clip, because this is a good one that Mo sent me earlier in the week. I think a lot of times we feel like we have to respond to get our respect. So it's like, I'm not going to let somebody play me. That is the conversation that we would have as women. A lot of times, my girlfriend, somebody says something like that to me, you got to lean in and put him in his place. And I feel like we have lost the art of being feminine because we feel like in order for me to keep my respect, because Black women have felt so disrespected for so long,
yes.
we try to make sure that we are defending ourselves. And I understand how that feels. I've been in the entertainment industry and been disrespected more times than I care to count.
Absolutely.
And I would fight. I would go in. I remember feeling like I had to go in and let guys know I'm not playing with you. I ain't playing no games. You don't do it. And that energy, they would just be like, I remember this one guy, he worked with me. He's like, you're good, but you're a bitch. And I was like, I'm not a bitch. Like you. But it was because I was coming in with the energy that I had to be hard and a little mean and get people in their place, and not understanding that you can be firm and set boundaries in your feminine energy, which actually takes less energy because I was working against myself before. I would leave and feel exhausted. I would leave meetings and feel like I wasn't being myself. I would meet guys and feel like he couldn't see the real Christal because I had to make sure he knows, don't play with me. And that is what I had to, it took me a long time and the show and a lot of our conversations to understand that I can be firm and I can set boundaries, and you can't take my respect. You don't even have the ability to do that. So I don't have to push against you to get it back.
Yes. Let me tell you, I tell this story a lot because it taught me, it confirmed for me the power and the tools that I teach. For your show on Young to Fix My Life, it was a fight. It was a fight. And the way that the executives responded was so demeaning. And in that moment, I too had to make a decision how I was going to respond. Now I'm going to tell you all those. I'm gonna hold this secret. Stay to the end. And if you want to know this secret, I'm going to tell every woman a secret that you can use at work or in a dating situation. I had to use that because my point for bringing this up is those of you women who work on a job, you find your emotional intelligence then. You condition yourself and monitor your tongue and your tone. Then sometimes you can be pissed off, but you do not do that. Why is it when we are across from another human being that we don't see the God in them, because we oftentimes don't see it in ourselves? We don't use that same emotional intelligence. We don't do the neck popping and the this and that when anywhere but with our own. But when we go somewhere else, we know how to regulate ourselves. Why don't we know how to regulate ourselves? That tells you that there's something else going on. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm saying that there's something else going on, and then there's another option that won't leave you depleted and that can get you what you want, more of what you want versus more of what you don't want.
I like that. That's men and women too. I like that. I really, really like that.
Yeah. I think that's true, because there are men that I would remember being on a dating site and guys like, I'm not gonna let no girl play me, and I'm like, sir.
Those same men, one of those men is my mentor, and he openly on his own radio show acknowledged that he was an asshole in that meeting, and he did not see what I saw, and he thanked me and my mentor for the way that we handled it, because we were working with something else. And when I tell you that was confirmation for me never to give my power away again, because the way that thing happened, it was so profound.
Yeah. Okay, so I got this clip is good. This clip is with a guy, unemployed and rich and unemployed. I think the gentleman's name is Finesse, but I know a lot of women aren't going to like this clip, but I want to talk about it in the mature context, because I feel like this is something specifically when we're talking about reality TV, because we see the example of womanhood is so distorted from what the reality, specifically with our community, is supposed to be. So I want us to watch this clip, and then all three of us can have a conversation along with the chat. We definitely want you guys' opinions as well.
They say some wild shit.
Yeah, they willing to say it. And just even about money wise, like I don't know no rich boy who would talk to it, like wipe up a joint, who went on a podcast and said, and it's not one size fits all, so it's not everybody. But I've never met a rich dude who would say, oh man, that chick, she only dates 7-figure earners, I'm gonna go get her. I've never met that nigga. Every nigga is like, you trying to smash that and you slide. And a lot of us have like fake options. Like women could think they got options when a dude will smash. That don't mean nothing. Niggas is not wifing y'all. And that's the reality. And it's just only because I think the privacy thing. I think that's just one aspect. If we change that, we'll have a lot more relationships. These chicks just be quiet. Lack of privacy. So these women talking on these shows, they sabotaging themselves a lot of the time in a lot of men's eyes, because they are saying things publicly that never should be shared.
Right.
And I think because they do that and they don't understand it, they'll never be able to, wrap their mind around why they not being wifed up and taking, longer than 3-month relationships and shit like that.
They say some.
Come on.
Maybe y'all will listen to some of the guys. Because I have been saying that. Everything is not for public consumption. And because I do believe this is a generational thing. I really think we did not grow up with the internet. We did not grow up, and so y'all, some of you millennials, you did. And the moment that you, for some reason, this thing here is your journal. We had to write in journals. And everything is not for everybody. I even say this about feminine talk, about talking about sacred feminine work. It's supposed to be done in sacred containers. Now you have people who are videoing the women who are crying and doing things at retreats. That's not supposed to be shown. It's a reason why rites of passage and retreats are supposed to be a safe place. And so he does have a very, very valid point. Y'all are letting these podcasts be your therapy, and all you're doing is exposing your wound.
I want to talk about what he said to Mo, because I know a lot of times women think that they're setting I'm keeping my standards high.
Yes.
I'm saying I have to have a man that makes this much money. He has to do this, 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 and this. I know I got options. Because a lot of times men are attracted and they give it feels like the same signals. And I talk to Mo about this all the time. Like, a lot of times you guys are giving attention to the women that are doing all this. So, Instagram, and I'm not saying anything negatively about the girls, but a lot of girls that are showing a lot of their bodies on Instagram, guys give them a lot of attention, and they're saying, well, I want this figures. He has to do this. He got to buy me this, buy me that. And it appears that the guys are still doing that. So Mo, can you add some context from yourself? Because we've even talked about Delicious. No disrespect to Delicious. I had to put you on the spot.
She ain't the only one I'm like it. But here's the thing, and I say this all the time, and partly I think that's our fault, because you don't know what the context in which we're looking at that as. From across the room, it just looks like he likes her and he wants to be with her. He might want to be with her tonight. You know what I mean? And it looks the same, but it's not the same. And I often tell women, because women will say, well, if you're looking at that, and what a lot of women I see do is they're jumping in the loose women lane. And I'm like, no, that's entertainment for us. That's recreation. We want the separation. The lines are blurred. I don't know who's who no more. So a lot of times when we're looking at that, I wish we can't go to every other woman and explain, no, I just want to, but it's the attention thing. When women tell me, don't tell me, but they tell some guys, well, all you want to do is just sleep with some women. I know a bunch of women that sleep with you. And what I say is point them out. Point them out. So we don't waste your time. Point those women out. Well, but that would never happen.
Nobody point those women out for you, Mo.
No. But I mean, it's metaphorically, but what I'm saying is all those women that get attention and get left after the guy does whatever he does is recreation. But you would never point them out because it's not about none of that. It's really about the attention. She's getting the attention at that moment. And you think that we like her. And we don't necessarily look that way. And it's not that.
I think the women think that you like them. Because like we just said, he said in that, like,
yeah, and she could think that. And guess what? I want her to think that. That means what I'm doing is working. But it doesn't mean that what I'm doing is real. You understand?
I do think that there's some atonement that has to happen, though.
Absolutely.
There are a lot of men have fed high-paid prostitution,
right?
Yes. And wifed it, and got children by it. And
that's where it goes left.
That is where it goes left. And so now she has a victim story, and now the cycle begins all over again. Because a lot of you all have gone for the fat ass. I mean,
facts.
And so now, what else can it do for you? After you get that, what else can it do for you?
Mo?
Yeah, that's the part where that young man has to bump his head and realize whether he has a gang of child support or whatever it is, and he bumps his head and he has to learn that lesson. The seasoned man knows better and would think. I think a lot of times I'm gonna give an example. My first time when I came to Atlanta, I went back home to visit, and my cousin said, my friend seen a picture of yours. She wants to meet you, but she was like, you don't want to talk to her. She sleeps with everybody. She does this. She does that. I was like, that's exactly who I want to meet. I'm here for the weekend. I don't want to meet the good woman. I want to take my time with the good woman. I'm here for the weekend. That's exactly who I want to be. So those women to men are necessary. I'm not saying they're right and we should settle with them, but they do have a purpose.
Jesus help us.
And
okay, so now Mo, I don't know if you know this, but that's actually very true. In the feminine arts, there's something called the sacred whore. And the sacred whore meets men when they have come home from war. That was the role of the sacred whore.
Okay.
And a lot of Black men are in a perpetual war. So so you are trauma bonding from the war that you are constantly in. You just said something highly spiritual, because and I'm just giving you the origins, that the sacred whore would meet the men who were coming home from war to take the war out of him so that he could go home in a different state of mind to his family. Now, this is history. Even when you go to men who are in the military, they would bring in women that would show their breasts. Why? Because there's a science to our body that heals a man. This is why, when you know who you are, if you have sexual trauma as women, now I'm talking to y'all now, you have to be able to embody. Betty Wright said, a lady,
in the street, a freak in the
Y'all don't know nothing about that Betty Wright. Y'all thought it was Lil' Kim. Y'all thought it was Nicki Minaj. But go listen to a little Betty Wright.
They probably thought it was, at this point, Cardi
and
B
Millie Jackson.
And
Millie Jackson, honey.
Millie Jackson. That was the first Little Kim.
So the sacred whore does have a season in the timeline of things. And we are out of the season of the sacred whore. Her time is up right now. This is not her season.
What if that war is in his house?
If the war is in his house, and that is when the woman does not know how to bring the healing and the health to her man, he will go out to that energy. This is why they'll go to the strip club and eat chicken and maybe not touch, whatever they do. But the point is, there's a science to all of this. And this is why when women come together, we teach these sciences, because our mother did not teach us this. She taught us how to survive. We have to learn again, because we are the mothers of this science. Those of us, we are the mothers. And there are other women who are your children who practice this science. And I've worked with them from all over the world, and they practice this science. This is why, and can I say about the what I told you to go look at Indian? Okay, so I told Christal to go look at Indian matchmaking. Have you looked at it, Mo?
I have not.
So those of you who are in the comments, we should just do a little focus group or something. I want you all to go look at either Indian matchmaking or Jewish matchmaking. There's a science that is our science, but other people are still practicing it. That's all I'm going to say about that.
And I did that, and I actually got hooked to watch it. I just started Jewish matchmaking. But the thing that I realized about that show, and even about our culture, and I've said this, I remember sharing this with Mo. I remember, so I went to University of Oklahoma, where I was one of 500 to 1,000. We have 500 to 1,000 Blacks, depending on the year I was there, and 23,000 white students, right? So in my graduating class, there was only me and one other Black person, and there were 30 of us that all had the same major, same exact minor, all together. And I remember thinking, like, we were getting to the end, and our conversations were so different. I was getting to the end. I had gotten married and had a child, so my husband and I at the time were so different because everybody else was like, who is stupid enough to get married in college? But my white classmates we're all preparing to get married, all of them, like every single last one. But out of those 30, we're preparing to get married. And
Yes.
what was interesting is a lot of the guys would come to class and talk to each other about their father taking them to buy an engagement ring, their father talking to them about the fact that this girl, okay, you slept around, but this girl's been there. She'll make a good wife, her family. And I remember thinking, wow, this is so different because my Black friends their mothers and fathers are telling them, you got a degree, you getting ready to get a good corporate job, don't let a girl trap you. And I realized the difference of the way we looked at family, right? Back then, I remember thinking this is really weird because we're pushing our community away from family. Our boys are being taught, don't let them trap you. And the girls are being taught, you can make it on your own. You make sure that you're a strong, independent Black woman. You educated, you're dangerous. Where the white students were saying, oh, I got this degree. My dad has got me a job. She and I are going to get married. My dad's helped me get the ring. We got a down payment on the house. We're getting married. And now we're going to start. Now, I'm not saying that those marriages work more than other. That would be a different study. But what I did learn then, and I saw that in Indian matchmaking, is in other cultures, even though, not necessarily saying American culture is a culture, but outside of our community, other cultures are embracing marriage from a family perspective. When you watch Indian matchmaking, it's the entire family is vested. The entire family wants that bachelor to find a wife. They understand the power and the fact that family builds wealth, and they're invested. And so that gives a different perspective to that single. To me, in our communities, and you guys can speak to this, your opinion on this, I see a lot of times women are taught, make sure that you can take care of yourself. Men are taught, once you have money, you are a commodity. Get as many women as you can. The men in the streets are telling them, when you got money, you can get any woman you can get. And so a lot of times by the time the man gets to this place, he has a lot of baby mothers. There's no ability to build wealth. And the women, after a while, people are looking, oh, you're 35, you're 45, you're 55, you've never been married. She's not going to find someone. What's wrong with you? And it's like, but wait a minute. When I was in college and I was at the place where you meet people, I was not ever encouraged to find a husband. I was never encouraged to prioritize family. I was never encouraged to be open to something besides career. I was always pushed towards making money and being able to take care of myself. And what happens is the family structure is not
absolutely
celebrate. And so that's one of the things that you see. You cannot agree with the show, or what you can't deny is the fact that when family is involved, there is a different perspective than I'm just out here sowing my royal oats, getting it. I can get as much money as I can and knock as many girls down.
And we're not taught that. We are not taught to make decisions for longevity and that protect. It's called progeny. Mm-hmm. And a lot of us are not taught that. We're not taught how to mate and how to select mates that are a match for us, because we come out of the trauma of slavery. Mm-hmm. And so many of us are mimicking our oppressors. Now you took that comment down, but that person whose comment was just up, I think it was Blink or someone, that they were on to something. They said men are constant. They gave the example of men choosing loose women, like Erica Giraldi, I believe is her name, from one of the Housewives or something.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And one of the other young ladies.
And when we watch this, we're not even watching from the lens to know that sometimes we're looking at business arrangements. Because we have not been taught the business of family. Most of us don't even have a family business, much less the business of family. The business of family, there is a certain way you select and set up certain things. And this is why the 1% who run this country, they can have concubines all over the world.
Mm-hmm. And do.
But the concubine gets something out of it. We are out here whoring and being a side piece and don't get anything out of it except the hyper. I'm not saying that you should listen. Hear what I'm saying. I'm saying that we just have not been taught the science and even to know what we're looking at. So to me, using an old decrepit white man and and whatever woman whatever you want to call her as an example, that's just not a measurement stick for me. But the problem is many of us don't have a measuring stick. We only go off of the illusion that's presented in front of us. Even in Africa, they are still doing arranged marriages. And that's why you can meet an African man and y'all can call him all kind of names that you want to. But the most honest one will tell you that he has a wife back home that the family chose and that he has an obligation to them. Why? Because they're still functioning on a structure that preserves the wealth of the family.
Absolutely.
Now now we get into this love and this morality. Oh, well, you can't have me, you can't have her. Yeah, he can. He will. Or you just go on and do it the American way. And the American way is not working because it's not our way.
I have friends that are East African.
Yeah, we're not.
We're African.
Yeah,
and that's their philosophy.
It's
East
not,
African. They keep it off. Family is woof. Yeah.
I think that, you do. I've seen people saying in the chat, the thing about Ready to Love that specifically this audience appreciates is the fact that they are people that have lived, people that have experienced, right?
Yeah.
And sometimes that can be a good thing, and sometimes that can be more difficult because you become more set in your ways. But we're talking about people that are in their mid-30s to mid-40s to even beyond. And at that point, it can be difficult to create a new normal, right? Create new patterns. So I want us to talk before we get off of here, to give some advice. And I want to start with Moe because from a man's perspective, I think part of the problem, this channel specifically is the majority women, and I enjoy having these conversations for women, but we can't teach women how to be wives without doing the same for men to be husbands, because that practice of, but that doesn't need to come from women. So from your perspective, Moe, what have you learned throughout your experiences in the dating world that you could share with other men about how to make a better choice?
The first thing is your 20s are for you, man. Don't let society pressure you on being with that young lady. Be honest. Like your 20s, and this is for men and women, your 20s are for you. Let alone you and trying to figure out somebody else and a baby and all this. Your 20s are for you. You're going to bump your head. 20-year-olds, people in their 20s, the best thing they do is F up. They do that better than anybody. Let your 20s be for you, man. Don't let your parents or your family pressure you on, make her an honest woman and be with this woman and that's your girlfriend. Man, listen. Try to figure out what you like, but most importantly, figure out yourself, man. These women aren't going anywhere. And this is to the men, like these women aren't going anywhere. Get yourself together. And more importantly, man, be honest. You don't have to lie. A lot of us think we have to lie. Or if we don't tell her what she wants to hear, she's going to leave. And guess what? I found out. They leave temporarily. They'll be back. If they don't respect nothing else, they respect the truth. So brothers, just be honest. And more importantly, like I said, focus on getting yourself together and figuring out what it is that you want. You listening to these old bitter men that messed up and cheated on they, on drugs or whatever. You're getting advice from unhappy dudes who never had nothing in the first place. My father's generation is the generation to me that messed up.
I agree.
It really was. Those guys really dropped on so many different levels, socially, everything. They dropped the ball. After the civil rights movement, the next generation that came out of there, whether it be the Black Panther, that whole generation messed it up. Half of them wind up being strung out. They really dropped the ball. And
I 100%
if you're
agree.
lucky enough, if you're lucky enough to have, if you my age and you're lucky enough to have grandparents, man, listen to them. Don't listen to these fools out here. I'm telling you, listen to them. That's why I love talking to older people, old enough to be my grandparents. It's so much information out there, man. It really is.
And our mothers in some ways dropped the ball too. I know we don't like to say that, but they taught us to be able to survive, and we lost a lot of the arts and of that one, those womanly arts. Because ideally we are supposed to learn them from the women in our family, but the women if they're in survival mode, then the cycle continues. And it doesn't mean that we have to be mad at our mothers or any of that. They just didn't know. They didn't have room for it. But if you're listening to this, I think that, and I could be wrong, and I know it's not a blanket statement, but I just don't think a lot of real men, a man's man, are gonna be on Ready to Love.
What?
I'm just being honest. I think I listen to the conversations of the men in my life that are husbands, and it's a joke. It's a meme for them. And I don't see Moe going on Ready to Love. I just don't see that. I don't. So the premise in the first place to me is flawed. I just don't think an alpha man would go. I'm not saying that so brothers, if you watch Christal's show, I'm not saying you're not, but there is a different kind of man out here now. And I do think that he's more estrenated than the average man. That's the best way that I can say it. He talks, he's mouthy. They call it sassy.
He's zesty. He's sassy.
Sassy and zesty. And and honestly, that turns off a woman who's in her masculine. Check that out.
Yeah.
A woman who's
that's why we see this on the show all the time. Because we have these women that are extremely accomplished and are operating from, a lot of them, from a fearful place, and it's almost like there's an ego because I have my body together and I know I have money. So I have the ego that is equivalent to a man.
Absolutely, because that's by design. Y'all don't like I don't know if this is the space to say this, but this is another form of genocide. You make the men more effeminate, and you make the women more masculine. And so now you have this continuous war. The men are sassy and zesty, and the women are all soldiered up. So it's up to us to stop participating in a plan that has been planned out for our families. When you do that, you're stopping the war. You are reclaiming your bloodline back. And that might be too deep when we're talking about something like Ready to Love, when you're just watching to be entertained. But you wouldn't be watching Ready to Love. Like I only watch this show because of the work that I do.
Right. But you're also a married woman. And I think so many women that I've talked to have watched the show hoping to see an example. I had so many women that called, myself and my sister Shanika after that show that we were on, the Yana Fix My Life, because they love seeing the fact that both of us had a, I'm not saying a perfect ending, please understand, ladies and gentlemen, but there was an ending because we did we did the work. We were surprised that was the work, did the work, and then had a different outcome, and had been doing the same thing and getting the same outcome. And so I realized that a lot of women are watching this show hoping to see something positive, hoping to see a love story or something that they can believe in. So I want to ask you, Coach Latonia, the same thing with Moe, like what advice would you give women? Because the audience for Ready to Love are women that have lived, women that are maybe in their 30s and their 40s and their 50s that want to find love, what advice when we're dating, because this show is about dating and getting to know men, what advice would you give men, give women, maybe 3 tips that you could give them when they're going on dates so that they're not doing TMI and they're not coming off as too overtly, telling too much, not having any type of decorum or privacy. What advice would you give women that are looking to date and date with intention that's positive?
We were in the same room this weekend being honored, the Women of Influence honorees. Christal got a Lifetime Achievement Award, y'all, and I was in the room. We didn't know we were both going to be there, but one thing that stuck with me is we did an exercise where you looked at your top 5 when you were talking about your vision. And I think that women in particular need to have a top 5, a council. And on your top 5, because the law of attraction is what you focus on grows. That's the law of attraction. What you focus on grows. That's not Latonia. That's law.
Right.
As within, so without. As above, so below. So that means that you should surround yourself with some well-loved women, some satisfied women, some women who possess traits that you don't have. And I was surrounded by married women. Now, of course, I got married young, but I've been single, I've been divorced and single again. And I was able to go to my friends who love their husbands and sometimes would have problems, but they weren't trying to leave and fight or flight. They taught me some things. And so the first thing is to have you a counsel.
Yeah.
Because you're not going to find it on reality TV. That's not the agenda, beloveds, to have you see yourself on TV. That's why I use the example of I had to fight for a real show or Fix My Life. So, and that show is all about healing. The other thing is make a list of all of the things that have hurt you in your relationship. This is a good time to do it at the top of the year. In fact, you can make a list and put all the names of the guys. And then declare yourself that you are willing to let that go. Now I am abbreviating this a little bit. But this is an exercise that even I did. And I tell you, when I did my work, I continued to date, but I knew what I wanted. I knew what I did not want. So when I heard the voice of my husband, he spoke a language. He said some things that it was almost as if he said some key words and the lights went on. And I knew. There's a knowing that you have when you hear someone who has done their work. And it's just a different feeling. And if you haven't had that feeling, you deserve to have that feeling.
Yes.
If you have not been well loved and all your relationships are ended in cheating, drama, fallout, it's not all them either. There's something in you that kind of likes that. Kind of is drawn to that. So I'm saying do the work, because you're only attracting more of your. So there are well-loved women, but they don't need to be on the internet. They don't need to be on a show. They damn sure don't need to be on a podcast, because the truth is you protect it. Even those people who are on the own show, the Love Show, I can't think of the name of it right now. A lot of them go on that show and have broken up.
Yes. Oh, Black Love.
Black Love.
And some of that has been out. Yeah, absolutely.
It's full of beautiful lessons, but some of those, they put people on the show who were not ready to be talking about lessons they learned. Some of them weren't even married long enough.
Well, some of them weren't even married. And then one of the couples, and I think we get so fixated on what it looks like, right?
Yes.
And beautiful people, very successful, but that doesn't mean that they're happy. And this couple, I won't say their names, but they were dating. They weren't married. They had them on the show. And I was going to do a follow-up because, of course, Black Love documentary on OWN, I'm definitely going to interview them. So I was going to do a follow-up. And the young lady called me in tears and she said, Christal, I just don't want to stand you up. But it's not like that. I thought that he was this. They met on a dating site. He ended up leaving her for another woman for a better opportunity. And it was heartbreaking because for her to call, and I definitely respected her and didn't put that out. But I felt like how irresponsible to produce that couple just because of the look and there not to be substance there. So I'm not going to drop the names. You guys know I'm not going to do that. I gave her my word, but because it was hurtful, it was very hurtful to watch. And you can still, even Tina Lawson, Beyonce's mother, Tina Knowles, married to Richard Lawson. And, they not saying that people don't break up, but it was a new marriage in the spotlight. And then less than a year and a half later, Miss Tina had filed for divorce. So you really have to find people that I feel like you can learn from. I remember going to women in my church, older women in my church, and talking to them. And some of the things when I was married, I got married at 20. And I would just be super upset about something at 26, and one of those always like, baby, leave him alone. I would be like, what? That's not a big deal. Leave him alone. And I needed that wisdom. Unfortunately, that marriage ended, but God was gracious enough to give me another chance at love because I was willing to acknowledge that yes, things happened in the marriage that were wrong, but I wanted to make sure that I did my part and understood that I too was responsible for some of the breakdown of that marriage. Hands down. I didn't deserve what happened, but I was not perfect in the marriage. And there was so much I didn't know about being a wife. And so I'm open. I take counsel, from women that have been there, done that, and women that I trust, women that I don't just see on television, but I can see their walk. And I trust that. That's really important to me, that I have people pour into me, that I trust their spirit and their character.
And one more thing I would say, just not to leave it out there, is that don't rush to be the wife before you know how to be the girlfriend. And so many women are trying to be the wife before they even know how to be the girlfriend. This is chronic. So that's the other extreme. And a lot of times when you are so churchified, you do that as well. Yeah. So learn how to date playfully and to mate and keep it moving. So
No, go ahead.
No, please.
I was just trying to think, like, I like what you said. Who do men have to go to? Because obviously we're not going to each other. And when we do, we're getting the wrong information. I mean, we're getting player information. We're not getting, like I've said on here a couple times, like, how I learned how to treat women never came from a man. It came from a woman. It came from a record. It came from a TV show. And I think that's kind of sad, and I just want to know, like, where do men go? We're not really talking to each other. When we do, it's generally not good. I'm just going to keep it real. It's generally not all the time, but a lot of the time.
Yeah, so that's real honest. And I'm not going to sit here and say that I have those answers. Listen, I have a nephew who I feel that when he joined a fraternity, he learned a lot more about manhood by being in the presence of other men. So I learned that by why I wanted that for him. We are a woman-dominated family. I do think that there were a lot of things that I saw in my nephew that the same thing that I just didn't think was good. He processed his emotions kind of the way the women do. And when he got around in the company of other men, I noticed the change in him, and he found his voice, and he stopped allowing us into those spaces and boundaries, and have boundaries even with us. He knew we loved him, but he was like, enough. And I wanted that for him. And a lot of times the women in our family would continue to try to cross that boundary. And he would straight up tell me, I appreciate you, they have a name, my name is Nene, for like, I appreciate you, Nene, for for not, because so I do think that it, by circumstances, that men can learn from a woman in her feminine. Because a woman in her feminine is going to direct you towards other men. It's the woman who's trying to be the man and the woman that is absolutely doing the imbalance. But when a woman is in her feminine, she will find a male mentor. So I do think that if you haven't had that men have to be proactive to find ways to get it in a healthy way. Just like us, because men go through rites of passage just like women do.
No, absolutely. I just seen that, and this is real. I've seen guys take care of their families. I've seen guys, the good job, this, that, and the third. But how I judge, it's one thing to be a man to your family, like I said, the job, the whole thing. It's another thing to be a man amongst men. And a lot of dudes wind up missing that. When they get around other men, it's awkward for them. I've seen it. Like, they gossip, like they just do certain things that when they be like, we don't do that. Where you get that from?
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? And then I also, like they say, you could tell a lot about a man by the woman he chooses, right? And it's real. Or when they're around women. Like, I watch guys when they're around women, and all of a sudden they start doing extra stuff, not being themselves. They're comedians now, slapbox champions, all this stuff to be like. And I'm just like, relax. You know what I mean? Like, you don't have to, it becomes a performance. And a lot of times I was disappointed, and I could see who's who when they get around women. And I'll be like, oh, you wanted them. You almost had me fooled. Yes. And I'm like, nah, man, you ain't got to do that. Because at that point, I don't know if he's performing for her or he's performing for me.
I want to. Yeah, we've talked about it. And I told him, like, a lot of times men are very different, but I also think it's hard for men to find a safe space. I saw a clip the other day from a psychologist saying that women are able to, if they're sad or they're angry, we can call a friend immediately and I can call a friend crying on the phone, and she'll cry with me and eat some ice cream, and then that'll be fine. But if a man is hurt, he's not going to call his friend and cry. He can't download that. But I want to address this quote, Latonia, because I think this is really telling for right now where we're at in this conversation. True Love Forever says, I really need men to stop using women to heal and recover. Talking with friends and family is one thing, but a therapist. And the reason I picked that quote is because I do know so many times that men are hurt. And you mentioned earlier, Coach Latonia, that there is a healing in the intimacy of a woman. And I believe that. And a lot of times we feel like the man just is trying to go get under another woman. But sometimes I do think it's that she can give him his confidence back. But in that process, that woman often is hurt, because you're pouring into somebody who's taking everything from you. And then when he's full, he goes off and finds and supports another woman. How do we rectify that? So where as a woman, we're able to be a friend, a support, but we're not being used as an opportunity for a man to heal and being sucked dry and left, bitter and resentful for that.
Fill your own cup. And I do really mean that. That is something that it can be difficult to do, to not become his mother, because when a woman becomes a man's mother, he will resent you later. So sometimes we have to, even as wives, sometimes we have to be able to allow our men to go through their feelings, emotions, or whatever, and see it and know what it is without constantly throwing ourselves in the pathway. They will work it out. They will find a way. But you have to have that kind of confidence and affirm that they will find their way without trying to to give him. There's a meme going around of the woman who bought the man the car, the big truck, a box truck. Y'all seen that meme?
I've seen it.
I've seen it.
The woman bought the man a box truck, and he said, and he wasn't working. That's a great example. She went too far. Even though it's a meme, she went too far.
Yeah.
So another good example. I know I brought it up the last time, but it is public, so I can talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
Super went all out for Ray.
Mm-hmm.
And now she's recognizing she needs some therapy. I really want them to win.
Mm-hmm.
But she's only she's showing her love her way. And I'm saying that some of us are good intention and we love our men like they're our boys. When you do that, you are emasculating him.
Mm-hmm.
And then you will not respect the man that you emasculate, whether your intentions are good or not. You don't want him.
That's true.
Facts.
Facts.
So I think what Mo said, it touches me in my heart, because we do need more spaces for men. And women come to me or men, don't you have something for men? And I'm very clear. That's not my calling.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that there should be a whole bunch of men coaches out here teaching women. I think you're setting up a dynamic for predatory behavior. I don't think that there should be no more sheets. Women that are loose. All of that. I said it and I stand on it, because there's women that can teach women how to be women. But then we have to deal with the distrust and the breakdown.
Mm-hmm.
So Mo, I pray that there are more of us who will continue to do our work, so that there can be more of you who are willing to be in spaces with men.
I think it's starting with these. I think it's starting. I will say, some of the dudes have to you can't run to your woman like that's your mama.
Exactly.
But so when she comes to him and then she gives him whatever he needs and runs off, you got to sit there as a man a lot. Now, don't get me wrong. I think if a man can't be vulnerable in front of his woman, then who can he be vulnerable around?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But not in a soft way, but you got to give men. Christal, we talked about a situation today, and I told you, he'll figure it out. Don't call that person. Don't do that. Give him time.
Mm-hmm.
He's a man. He's gonna figure it out. He's 40-something years old. He'll be all right.
My husband just told me the same thing. And it just told me the same thing about our 18-year-old son. He was trying to figure something out.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to go and step in.
Mm-hmm.
But I respect my husband enough to ask him, I said, should I do? And he said, absolutely not. This is his crossover into manhood.
Right.
And if you have to let him figure this out, and he will figure it out. So I have learned from my husband. My father has passed on. My father told me great advice too. When my sister was going through her divorce, he told both of us, you don't say anything negative about his father. Let him figure that out and make his own decision.
Yeah.
It was some of the best advice my father. But if some of us haven't been fathered, when we even say stuff like I'm his mother and his father, you haven't been fathered.
Right. Yeah, that's a whole nother discussion, because we said please stop doing that. But I will admit, I remember a friend of mine was like, happy Father's Day. You are their mother and their father. And I said, thank you. And I was rocking with it. And then later I was like, no, I'm not their father. And I see, and they have a father, and I have to make sure that they understand that they do, they have a father. We're no longer together, but they have a father. Well, I have really enjoyed this conversation. Coach Latonia, Mo and I both, I want to thank you. He can do it himself. He's here. Let me not emasculate Mo, and thank you for him. But I thank you taking this time to come on the channel. Hopefully we can have you come, more frequently and just give some perspective, because this is entertainment, but it's also a reflection of what's going on in the dating world. And so I think it's good to have some perspective. So I want to thank you for taking your time.
Exactly. And the more you come on, the more I'm really starting to think I probably need to talk to somebody. I'm serious. Like, I don't think it'll hurt. I don't think it'll hurt. So, the more you come on, I really appreciate it. I'm learning from both sides from you, just your perspective. It is real. And that's what I appreciate more than anything. It's real. And that's all we can ever ask. Thank you.
Well, I can't wait to be at your wedding.
Me too.
I'm holding the vision for you, Mo, because I think you're a good dude, and it would be wonderful to see to follow your journey here, and for all of the women to follow your journey, and you share the lessons. But thank you, Christal, for inviting me to your community and sharing. And you all follow me on Instagram. I post some good stuff. I talk about some good stuff. Mo, we got to make sure we connect. And there are things that I will not talk about in an open forum. I can be a lot more unedited in sacred containers. And know that there are conversations that we don't have in mixed company. When I talk about the power of the P, then
right.
Then you know what I'm saying? So I did say that I was going to tell you. So should I save it, Christal?
No, come on. Let's do it, because we'll have more to share the next time.
When you are in a situation and you feel your fire rise up, but first, if you do this exercise, I want to give all the women an exercise thing, or you really want to tap into your power, just move your thoughts down below your navel. And when you go, even in the boardroom, if you put your mind on her for a moment and hold the vision of her, and it will bring you out of your head and your masculine and right into your feminine power. Now, there's more to that, but I would love to have those conversations with you in some sacred containers.
Because
I have those containers for you.
As we've learned, it's not appropriate. Men don't want to hear all that. I'm putting Coach Latonia's Instagram in the chat for those of you. And I just move my thoughts to her, which is why I'm getting off of this live and getting ready to go tend to my.
She moved her thoughts to her.
I did. Rebirth with Latonia, because I want you guys to follow Coach Latonia. And then we're going to be back. Latonia, I'm putting it in the chat, you guys.
Oh my goodness, they are saying so much in the comments that I just wish I could work with.
Well, we'll definitely have you back, and we'll definitely do that. But I want to thank you again
for
hanging out with us tonight, and I will see you soon. I love you. You know that.
I love you all. Nothing you can do about it. Ciao.
Okay, hold on, Mo. All right. So, good conversation tonight. Great conversation tonight. What overall, give me a one, what do you think? What did you take out from that? First of all, I just want to tell you, I'm so proud of you for saying that you would want to do therapy. I've done therapy a couple of times.
The more and more, it was running through my mind as she was talking. I'm just like, I'm playing back certain things and certain encounters, and I'm like, especially when she said, it can't be all of them, right? I'm not perfect, y'all. You know what I'm saying? It can't be all of them. So at this point, I need to find out what I might be doing wrong. You know what I'm saying? And tap into that. I'm not afraid of change. I'm not afraid of correcting myself and being my New Year's resolution every year is just to be a better person. Ain't nothing specific, just to be a better human being. Yeah. So why not? Why not?
And I'm proud of you. And I'm your friend. You're my family, and I have opened my arms to girls a lot of times I felt like weren't necessarily good enough for you or didn't. But I also want the person that you're with to get the Mo that I know, right? And I think
I
that
got a question.
they don't. Yes.
I got a question. I mean, not a question. I want you to, because people, and I notice every time they be like, "How did you and Mo meet?"
Okay. You want to share? You want
So
to story?
I will start off. Well, when I met Christal, she was a counselor for women that sold their sweets in the streets. I was a manager of those women. No, I'm just kidding. But no, actually, I used to do this music thing, and Christal was became my publicist. Long story short,
Mhm.
and it was many years ago, and I just loved her work ethic, and she was kind, which is, you know, if she saw me just in the space, you know, she's a super easy person to talk to. Anybody that's ever had a one-on-one conversation, like Christal will tell you, people tell their life story and spill their guts out too. You know, even myself. So just in that journey, like we really, really became friends. She was married to in a whole nother situation, but she was always a friend, you know, and I got all younger sisters. So I'm comfortable around women. I don't have to try to get on every woman that's around me or whatever. It's my family's predominantly women. So I got friends who, if they're not trying to get at them, they don't want to be, you know, for me, I'm comfortable, you know. So she was one of these people that came in, and, you know, it was a work thing. And then even when we stopped working, but even in the process, you know, watching her grow, her watching me grow, it was really a genuine friendship, and we could talk. You know, it's ups and downs like any situation, but friend.
Yeah.
And I mean, even like my guy friends, I don't treat her I mean, obviously you open doors and stuff like that, but outside of that, you know, just in the presence of a woman, but outside of that, I talk to her like I talk to my guy friends. And that's where that whole thing came from. So it was me being in the music business, and then it just transferred. And if you know anything about the entertainment business, it's hard to find genuine friends. You
Oh,
know,
very
it's
much
super,
so.
super, it's rare. It happens, but when I tell you it's rare, it's super, super, super rare. So I just wanted to say that that's how we initially met. And it became friends to family. And
Yeah.
that's real. Even when her family wasn't here, you know, my family would come in town, I would share my family with her.
And I share my
So that's
family.
how we met.
I share my mom, and my mom.
Oh no, and her mother, hey man, family. When I say family, it's real.
I give a short story. I remember one time, because we got to know each other slowly, because he was signed to an independent label, and actually became friends with all the guys. But Mo and I would spend a lot of time, because I was a publicist, I was media training and working with them a lot. And I remember we were flying. I can't remember where we were going, but we were sitting next to each other, and both of us were so scared. And I didn't know he was scared. We were having turbulence. You remember that? It was turbulence
First of
on
all,
the plane.
I was not scared. I was just trying to make you feel comfortable because you were scared. But continue. We're flying to DC.
We were flying to DC. We were both scared. I stick to my
No,
story.
we were. I ain't gonna lie. That turbulence was great.
It was bad turbulence. And so I think that's, you have moments in your friendship is like we both, but when I realized that he was scared, and I tried to be strong for him, and I think he was trying to be strong for me, and we got to DC, and it was a great show. But that's how we became we became friends and family. And now, Adrian is one of his best friends as well. And but honestly, we are excited, and are looking forward to you having that special person, and us being able to welcome her into the family. You know what I mean? But I think when you see people around you, and we have other friends that are, we want everybody to have that. It's balance, so that's what we want. So all that being said, mushy stuff out the way, I appreciate you guys dropping your cities and states. We have something that we're going to do here in Atlanta on February 21st. It is our post Valentine's Day mixer. Moe's going to be there. Some of the Ready to Love guys are going to be there. So if you're in Atlanta, you have no excuse. As long as you're a subscriber, it's free for you to come. And then we're going to be going to some other cities, and then we're going to be doing that for, we're going to be doing a big event at Essence. So if any of you guys are planning to kind of come to Essence, definitely keep in touch. Make sure that you're subscribed so you can get all that information. That being said, Friday, we are back. Another episode. We had to get the therapy out of the way today so we can get into the gist of everything on Friday.
Everybody's coming together.
Everybody's coming together. And I want to say, we definitely would love to extend an invitation to Patricia and DeMonte. DeMonte, if they would like to come on the show, I'm definitely going to reach out and see. What we talked about with Patricia was not anything against her. It was really just talking about the behavior and trying to encourage other women, to be able to date with intention, but date, with positive results. And if you keep getting the bad results, you got to do something different. And as a woman, just because you can get men's attention does not necessarily mean that you are healthy enough to keep a relationship. Because most of us, our Black women, are just beautiful. Like, that's just how we arrive. We woke up like that. We wake up like that. So, yes, you guys, please hit the like button on the way out. Like I said, I was doing what Coach Latonia told me to do, and I'm going to go spend some time with my honey bunny. I do want you guys to ask everyone to say a prayer for Zuri. My horse Zuri is in the hospital, and I went to see her today. She's in the hospital. You guys know that's my baby. I have a lot of animal babies, but my Zuri is my heart. And she had colic. She's in the hospital. So you guys please send some good energy and prayers for Zuri. So hopefully she'll be back. I went to see her today. She was pissed. They had Zuri hooked up to an IV. And yes, she was in the hospital. And I had never been before, but she was pissed at me. She was looking at me like, what are you doing here? Why am I here? Why have you left me here? So y'all please send some good energy to Zuri, and I will keep you updated when we talk on Friday. Mo, any plan? Well, Friday we're going to be here, so we'll talk about that. We'll talk about your plans for the weekend and our plans for the weekend, because I have some stuff going on this weekend. So I do want to say one last thing. I have an interview with Ava DuVernay that I'm super excited about. You guys, please stay tuned. Make sure that you are subscribed, because you do not want to miss this interview that I have with Ava DuVernay coming up. I'm super, super, super excited. She's one of my sheroes. And so I can't wait to share that with you. We love you all for watching. Please make sure that you're subscribed, and please make sure, after all that good wisdom that Coach Latonia dropped, make sure that you like this and share it with a friend that may need to hear it. All right. We'll see you guys on Friday at 10 o'clock. Don't be late.
10 o'clock.
All right. Bye.